pāpottāpa-nikr tanu-bhr govinda-gānāmr ānandāmbudhi-vardhanaika-nipun kaivalya-nistārakau vande rūpa-sanātanau raghu-yugau śrī-jīva-gopālakau Tyaktva turnamasheshamandalapati shrenim sada tuccha-vat Bhutva dīna-ganeshaka karunaya kopina kanthashrita परंपरा जानो भालो मते गोपी भावरसामृताब्दिलहरी kalola magno muhu Vande rūpa-sanātanau raghu-yugau śrī-jīva-gopālakau
Vande rūpa-sanātanau raghu-yugau śrī-jīva-gopālakau
Kujat kokila hangsa sarasagana kirne mayurakule
Kujat kokila hangsa sarasagana kirne mayarukule
Nānā ratna-nibaddha-mūla-vitapa śrī-yukta vrindavane
Nānā ratna-nibaddha-mūla-vitapa śrī-yukta vrindavane
Rādhā-Krishna mahārnisham prabhajatau śrī-jīva-gopālakau
Krishna mahārnisham prabhajato jivartadayamuda
Vande rūpa-sanātanau raghu-yugau śrī-jīva-gopālakau
Vande rūpa-sanātanau raghu-yugau śrī-jīva-gopālakau
Sankya-purvaka-nama-gāna-nartana-parau kalavasani krito निद्राहारविहारकादिविजितो शात्यन्तदिनचयो राधा कृष्ण गुणस्मृतिर्मधुरिमा नन्देन सम्मोहितो वन्दे रूप-सनातनौ रघु-युगौ श्री-जीवा-गोपालकौ राधा कुंड तटे कलिंदतनया तीरे च वंशिवटे प्रेमोन्मादवसादशेषदशया ग्रस्तो प्रमत्तो सदा गायन्तो शकदा हरेर्गुणवरं भावाभिभूतो मुदा वन्दे रूप-सनातनौ रघु-युगौ श्री-जीवा-गopālakau हे राधे व्रज देवी के चललिते चललिते हे नंद सुनो कथा श्री गोवर्धन कल्प पादपतले कालिंदिवाने कुटा सर्वतो व्रजपुरे महाविह्वलो वन्दे रूप-सनातनौ रघु-युगौ श्री-जीवा-गोपालकौ वन्दे रूप-सनातनौ रघु-युगौ श्री-जीवा-गोपालकौ जय श्री सद्गोस्वामी वृंदावन की जय श्रीनिवासाचार्य की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद् Abhaya Sharnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Shtota Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Thakur Shri Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki. Naam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki. Jagannath Puri ki. Ganga Mai ki. Jamuna Mai ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Tulasi Devi ki. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki. Taking over the word with Shri Prabhupada stands book distribution Daivan Ashram farm communities ki jai. All glories to Simul devotees. All glories to Simul devotees. All glories to Simul devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. Okay, so we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to be covering a few subject matters today. So we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 15, text number 1. Yeah. Shri Shukavacha. Did I Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? No. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 15, text number 1. Shri Shukha Uvacha Tataha Cha Pauganda Vayaha Shritau Vraje Babhuvatuhu Tau Pashupala Sammato Gaha Charayanto Sakibihi Samam Padaihi Vrindavanam. Did I miss something? No?
That's not one.
Okay. What do you say?
That's not one. That word's not in the word for word on the TV.
Really? Okay. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Oh, okay. Anyway, it has it over here. I think that's a mistake there. Yeah, it's Vrindavanam is Sri Vrindavan. I think that's not updated. Punyam Ativa Chakratuhu Shri Shukavacham Tatasyapo Ganda Vayashrito Vraje Tatasyapo Ganda Vayashrito Vraje Bhabhuvatustau Pashupala Sammato Bhabhuvatustau Pashupala Sammato Gasharayanto Sakibih Samapadair Gasharayanto Sakibih Samampadair Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratuhu Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratuhu Shri Shukavacham Tatasya Pauganda Vayafshrito Vraje Prabhuvatustau Pashupala Sammato Gasharayanto Sakibih Samapadair Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratuhu Shri Shukavacha Tatasya Pauganda Vayashrito Vraje Babhuvatustau Pashupala Sammato Gasharayanto Sakibih Samapadair Vrindavanam Punyamativa Chakratuhu Shri Shukavacha Tatasya Pauganda Vayashrito Vraje Babhuvatustau Pashupala Sammato. Okay. Gasharayanto Sakibi Samampadair Vrindavanam punyamativa chakratuhu. Please repeat. Śrī-Śuka uvacha.
Śrī-Śuka uvacha tatascha paugandavaya śritau vraje babhuvatastau paśupala-sammatau gāschārayantau shakibhih samam padaihi vrindavanam punyamatīva chakratuhu.
Bhabhuvatustau paśupala-sammatau gāschārayantau sakhibhih samam padaihi vrindavanam punyamatīva chakratuhu.
Śrī-Śuka uvacha. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, Tataha, then, cha, and, Paugandavayaha, the age of Pauganda, years 6 to 10. Shritau, attaining. Vraje, in Vrindavan. Babhuvatuhu, they, Rama and Krishna, became. Tau, the two of them. Pashupala, as cowherds. Sammato, appointed. Gaha, the cows. Charayanto, tending. Sakibihi, samam, along with their friends. Padaihi, with the marks of their feet. Vrindavanam, Sri Vrindavan. Punyam, auspicious. Ativa, extremely. Chakratuhu, they made. Translation and purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Rama and Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherd men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan the most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Purport. Lord Krishna wanted to encourage his friends who had been swallowed by Aghasura and then stolen by Lord Brahma. Therefore, the Lord decided to bring them into the palm tree forest called Talavan, where there were many delicious ripe fruits. Since Lord Krishna's spiritual body had apparently grown slightly in age and strength, the senior men of Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, decided to promote Krishna from the task of herding calves to the status of a regular cowherd boy. He would now take care of full-grown cows, bulls, and oxen. And out of great affection, Nanda Maharaj had previously considered Krishna too small and immature to take care of full-grown cows and bulls. It is stated in the Kartika Mahatmya section of the Padma Purana, Shuklashtami Kartiketu Smrita Gopashtami Budaihi Tad Dinat Vasudevo Bhut Gopa Purvam Tu Vatsapaha. The 8th lunar day of the bright fortnight of the month of Kartik, which is today, is known by authorities as Gopashtami. From that day, Lord Vasudeva served as a cowherd, whereas previously he had tended the calves. The word Padaihi indicates that Lord Krishna blessed the earth by walking on her surface with his lotus feet. The Lord wore no shoes or other footgear, but walked barefoot in the forest, giving great anxiety to the girls of Vrindavan who feared his soft lotus feet would be injured. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha śrī-caitanya-manobhishtam sthapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa-kada mahyam dati swapadantikam vandeham Shri-guru Shri-yutāpada-kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakanvatamsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminati Namine Harijana Gana Badi Gnana Karmandahari Prakritita Para Bhaktir Bhakti Siddhanta Kantihi Vinaya Nikara Lakshmi Nimna Medaya Ragamyo Bhuvijayati Vikaso Bhakti Purvo Yatindraha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyati Deshatarine Vagisha Yasya Vadane Lakshmi Yasya Chivakshisi Yasya Hridaye Samvitam Nasamham Aham Bhaje Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Yasya Deve Para Bhaktir Yata Deve Tata Guru Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashante Mahatmanaha. So today we are celebrating many there are many auspicious things which happen on this day in the auspicious month of Kartik, of course, and is known as Gopashtami and Go-ashtami also. So the reason it's known as Go-ashtami is on the same day when Krishna was a younger boy before he reached the Poganda age, which is what oh, you can see 6 to 10, okay, which is 6 to 10, which is the ages of 6 to 10. Before that, on this day, Krishna is given charge of taking care of the calves by Nanda Maharaj, and we see that when Bhakti Vikas Maharaj has a whole playlist, so many lectures actually. And he's reading from Ananda Vrindavan Champu, and there's pastimes of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of of all the universes, who Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and all the demigods and everyone bow down to, who even Lakshmi is very eager to serve, is in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, and what's he doing is he's holding the tail of a calf, and the calf is running, and Krishna is being dragged in the cow dung while the calf is running. So these are the pastimes of the transcendently amazing Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and he performs these pastimes simply to charm the minds of the devotees, and he wants to drown the inhabitants of Vraja in a pool of ecstasy and happiness. Right? What's the verse in the Damodara Ashtakam where it says that? Iti driks valilabir anandakunde swagosham nimajantam akyapayantam. So we see that Krishna is performing these pastimes simply to charm the minds of the Vrajavasis. And it said that when Krishna is playing with the calves and all that, Krishna and Balaram also, when they were small kids, they're crawling around, and all the gopis of Krishna are very gopis, friends of Mother Yashoda. They're very pleased to see these transcendental pastimes of Krishna and Balaram, and they're actually very cute. You can think of the cutest baby you've seen, and you can multiply that cuteness by unlimited times, and still it wouldn't be a spark of the splendor of cuteness of Krishna and Balaram. So, especially when they're babies. So this amount of, this attraction, why Krishna's pastimes are Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, Pratibhavitabis, Tabirya eva nijarupataya kalabi, Goloka eva navasatya kilatma bhuto, Govinda-madi purusham tamaham bhajami. That the pastimes of Krishna, they triumph anything that we can perceive in this material world. So the gopi friends of Krishna, of Yashoda, they are seeing Krishna and Balaram, and they're crawling, and it's a very cute, very transcendently cute pastime of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and their minds are completely enchanted. And what do? The gopis sing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or they sing some pastime glorifying Krishna and Balaram, and they both they're barely able to stand, and they're dancing to the tune of the elder gopis of Vrindavan. So these pastimes are very amazing, very charming actually. They're very charming, and that's why Satya Vrata Muni is praying, Varam Deva Mokshamna moksham vadim va nachanyam vrineham na varishadapiha idam teva purnata gopala balam sada me manasya virasam kimanyaihi. That he's praying, my dear Lord, may these childhood pastimes of yours always constantly appear in my mind. What use is there for any other boon other than this? What's the use? What's the point of anything else that we can desire in this material world is pale in comparison to simply remembrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is why, is it Madhvacharya or Vishwanath Chakravarti, one of these two acharyas composed a prayer saying, Shruti mitare, Smriti mitare. Yes, the great Brahmanas, they can worship the Shrutis and the Smritis and the Puranas, and they perform all kinds of austerities, this, that, and the other thing. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm a worshipper of Nanda Maharaj. Why? Because in his courtyard, the Supreme Absolute Truth is crawling on his four legs. So we see and we understand that this is the blissful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, and Gopashtami is Goashtami is the day where the cows are worshipped, and on the same day, a few years before Krishna attains this, he is given charge of the calves and he plays with the calves. And then a few years later, on this same day, Krishna is given charge of the cows, like we're seeing over here when he attains this age, the Poganda age. He's given charge of the cows. And it's kind of hard for me to conceive how a 6 to 10-year-old boy and all his friends are expected to control bulls. That's a big. I've seen bulls; they're not weak. They're so strong. You ever pet a bull? Even his skull is like so strong, and he is strong. The bull is so strong. But anyway, Krishna knows how to deal with cows and bulls, and oxen. So he's given in charge of taking care of the cows and the bulls and the oxen. And Krishna is very happy and he's ready to go to the forest to herd the cows, to take the cows to the pasturing grounds. And then Mother Yashoda makes a humble request to Krishna. She says, my dear Krishna, can you please wear shoes? And then Krishna says, my dear mother, if I wear shoes, I don't want to wear shoes. But if you want me to wear shoes, then you have to get shoes for all the cows and the bulls and the oxen. And for them, you have to get 4 pairs because they have 4 feet. So you have to get four footwear for each cow. Then I'll wear the shoes. Then Krishna wins the debate. And then Mother Yashoda lets him go. And it's said that Mother Yashoda is so attached to Krishna that she tries to follow Krishna as much as possible into the forest. And Krishna is begging his mother, please, my dear mother, you please let me go alone to the forest with my friends. You please let me go alone to the forest with my friends. And because Mother Yashoda being there, the Acharyas explain, it hampers the Sakyaras that the cowherd boys experience with Krishna. Because, we can even see in this mundane existence, which is just a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, that when the elders are around, you have to have some amount of decorum. And when they're not around, then the boys just have a good time. And that's just a perverted reflection in this material world. So similarly, for that rasa to fully manifest, then, Krishna is begging Mother Yashoda to let him go. And then Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book how when they're herding, then the cowherd boys, they reach stealing the lunch boxes of one another. So one boy steals it, and the boy whose lunchbox is stolen run towards him. The other one passes it to the other one. The other one passes it to the other one. And like this, Krishna enjoys ecstatic transcendental pastimes which are inconceivable to fallen conditioned souls. What is God doing right now? Well, he's running after his friend who stole his lunchbox. How can people conceive of this? Why? Because the pastimes of Krishna are not meant to be conceived. They're meant to be realized. They're not meant to be understood. They're meant to be experienced. So, on this day, before I primarily wanted to speak on Srinivasa Acharya. It was very ecstatic. So, on this day also, Srimati Radharani, she also wants to come and participate in this pastime of Krishna, going to the forest with all the cows and the oxen and the bulls. So what she does is she looks very similar to Subal, who is a Priya-Narmasaka. He's a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who simultaneously associates with Krishna in his pastimes with his cowherd boys, and is also an assistant in Krishna's pastimes to make him meet with Radharani. So what Radharani does is she dresses herself up as a cowherd boy, holds a calf to cover her feminine upper parts, and she goes and she also participates in the transcendental pastimes of Krishna. So this is what this Gopashtami is. Unfortunately, we don't know whether this is Prabhupada definitely didn't establish, or he didn't set the standard. But sometimes we see that Radharani on this day, she's also dressed like a gopa and she has a calf in her hands. Prabhupada didn't establish the standard, and we don't know where this is coming from. And I don't, Vishnu, do you know if this is bona fide, not bona fide? You don't know either, okay. But this is something new. We didn't see it during Srila Prabhupada's time. So this also goes on, but one must be very careful, because it's very easy for one to imagine themselves to be on a particular rasa in the spiritual world. Actually, before love comes, what comes before love? Surrender. Surrender comes before love. There is no question of love without surrender. So first comes surrender, then comes love. And the highest attainments of pure devotional service, of pure Krishna consciousness, is not attained overnight. There's many programs which make you a manjari overnight or a sakha overnight. We are not part of this sampradaya. It's called the sahaja sampradaya. We're not part of this sampradaya. All of a sudden, one day you're eating McDonald's, the next day you happen to meet a so-called Gaudiya sannyasi. Fourth day from then, you're given initiation, you're given a Siddha Pranali, and you start to imagine yourself to be a cowherd boy or a cowherd girl in Vrindavan and start to behave that way, and then eventually everything falls apart. This is not what our acharyas have taught us. We see that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments on a very important verse in the Brahma Samhita, which is Pramanai Sad-Sadacharai Sadhabhyasa Nirantaram Bodhayan Atmanatmanam Bhaktim Apyutamam Labhat. Where he says that the highest degrees are attained in slow, highest levels of devotion is attained in slow degrees. So this is a very important thing to know, because we can see even in our movement, there's places where people imagine themselves to be priya-narma sakas, which means they imagine themselves to be cowherd boys who also assist Krishna in his Radha-Krishna pastime. And on their altar, they have a picture of Krishna and Radharani, and Radharani is dressed like a cowherd boy, because they imagine themselves to be on a high level of spiritual ecstasy. And we've associated with some of them, and we've seen that even before they finish reading, not finish, but before they read through the Srimad Bhagavatam, even the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, they already think themselves very qualified to read esoteric literatures like the Vidagdha Madhava, the Lalita Madhava, etc. So one must be careful of such association, and one must be careful of these imaginative ecstasies. If you could pull up Nectar of Instruction, verse number 3, the first paragraph of the purport, Prabhupada says, devotional service, so Krishna consciousness, is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. So we must always remember this point. It is very, very important. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimentality or speculative, sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. 3. Utsaha nishaya dharya. Yeah. So Prabhupada smacks it open with this. Actually, this is a phenomenal way of opening a purport, actually. But one must understand, devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation. You can, I'm feeling love for Krishna in my heart now. I'm a gopa. Wow, amazing. Why are you a gopa? What are the qualifications? What is this? No, we don't know. But people imagine themselves to be on this high platform. And then Mangalarti is a question mark. What they eat is a question mark. What they think is a question mark. What they watch on their phone is a question mark. They're definitely not following Prabhupada. That's another question mark. And usually what we've seen, the tendency of such personalities is they start to become very offensive to Srila Prabhupada, saying, Prabhupada just came to give you sambandha-gyan. Then you have to go to some bogus rascal guru who left our sampradaya, went and learned some kind of esoteric meditation from the bogus Radhakund Babajis, who Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was against, and came back into the Gaudiya Math and started preaching all kinds of nonsense. He came to teach us prayojana and abhidheya. So these kinds of nonsensical things go on. So one must be very careful. Sadhu Savdan. Anyway, we are in good association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, and his devotees who are in charge of this project. We're in safe hands. And we should continue to stay on the safe path. That'll be a very, very good idea for all of us. So, excuse me. Well, even the cup is cold. So, we are also celebrating today the ecstatic disappearance days of three very prominent devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Two of them were direct associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. One of them is called Dhananjay Pandit. Dhananjay Pandit is a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. And Vrindavan Das Thakur says that Lord Nityananda had the potency of defeating and crushing the atheists. And that potency entered into Dhananjay Pandit. He was very famous for converting thieves, rogues, dacoits, and murderers into pure devotees of Krishna. That's fired up. He's famous for this. He's famous for doing these phenomenal activities in the service of Lord Nityananda. And in the spiritual world, he is known as Vasudama. That's the name of Krishna's cowherd boyfriend, Vasudama. And amongst the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's usually two groups. One are the Dvadasha Gopas, who are friends of Krishna in the spiritual world, like Sridham, Sudam, Subal, Bhadrasena, Rishabha. Then there's many more. Arjuna, that's another one. There's many devotees, many cowherd boys who associate with Krishna and Balaram, exclusively in the Sakya rasa. And then in this, there's a division known as the priya-narmasakas, who associate with Krishna and Balaram as a cowherd boy, as their friend, and they also associate with Radha-Krishna in making sure that pastimes happen. And then the second division, so that was a subdivision. The second division amongst Lord Chaitanya's associates are those who are in Madhurya Rasa, where they are in the spiritual world. They are Manjaris who are associating with Shri Radha and Krishna and assisting them in their transcendental pastimes. So Dhananjay Pandit belongs to the first category, where he's one of the Dvadasha Gopas, or part of that group of one of the Dvadasha Gopas. So he is known for spreading the Krishna conscious movement in an area known as Sri Talapura. In Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, there's two very ecstatic glorifications of Dhananjay Pandit. It says, this is Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya-lila, chapter 5, text number 773. So Dhananjay Pandit was an extraordinary great Vaishnava. Nityananda took up permanent residence in his heart. Lord Nityananda lives in his heart. Then, in other words, Dhananjay Pandit was a very rare soul. Nityananda Prabhu was always present in his heart. Again, Chaitanya Bhagavat. So we see that Dhananjay Pandit, he performed many ecstatic pastimes, and he had all the amazing qualities of a pure devotee of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and he performed those activities. Not that you see a person is supposed to be understood to be a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their practice and their precept. Both these things have to be there. Just like a train needs how many things to go straight? Two tracks, right? The train needs that. So practice and precept both have to be there. Then we will be freed from the degrading influence of the hypocrisy potency of Kali Yuga. Otherwise, if there's only precept and there's no practice, we are known as a hypocrite. If there's practice and there's no precept, then we're known as a sentimentalist. So both have to be there. Both have to be there. Otherwise, it is useless. Our practice of Krishna consciousness is a farce if we don't do that properly. So we should be very careful. And Dhananjay Pandit manifested both of these. Now, we see that it's also the disappearance day of Gadadhar Das. He is a great devotee of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is, we know this verse, famous verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radha Dhyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. That Radha Dhyuti, the effulgence or the energy of Srimati Radharani. So Gadadhar Das is the incarnation of the effulgence of Srimati Radharani. And so in Gaura Lila, there's usually two personalities in one person. We can see Ramananda Rai, he is, and exactly, that's impressive. Thank you, that's amazing, yes. Ramananda Rai is like that. So we see there's always different personalities, right? Advaita Acharya is? And? Sadashiva, right? So like this, Gaur Leela is like that. It's hard to understand, inconceivable. How can we you can't figure it out. You have to experience it. So what does it mean exactly? I don't know. I don't even know. You have to find out. You have to find out. Go there and find out, Prabhupada said. So now this is a little esoteric. And it says that the other personality who's in Dhananjaya Pandit is known as Purnananda. Who is this Purnananda? Who is this Purnananda? And Guru Maharaj only mentions this person once in all his lectures. And Lord Balaram has his wives, right? But Lord Balaram also has a girlfriend, known as Purnananda. And that's all we know about it. There's no, Guru Maharaj says there's nothing else given about this, but there seems to be, Lord Balaram seems to have Parakiya Rasa with this his devotee counterpart who he's not married to, known as Purnananda. So Gadadhar Das is a combination of both of them. And he also was a very ecstatic devotee of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And he, sometimes all the cowherd, all the devotees of Lord Nityananda, while they're traveling with Lord Nityananda, they also get into a very rowdy cowherd boy mood. And then sometimes they're going somewhere, they have to go this route, but they become so ecstatic, they start to walk the other route, which is 2 hours away, and they just block the road. And they start to perform Krishna's pastimes, they start to perform Krishna's leelas. And they're always completely absorbed in transcendental madness of love for Krishna. And sometimes Gadadhar Das, he would be on this side with the cowherd boys in that mood, but sometimes he would also attain the mood of a Vraja Gopi, and he would put a pot on his head and start asking, who wants to buy milk? Who wants to buy yogurt? Who wants to buy milk? Who wants to buy yogurt? So he would get very ecstatic, and his service to Sri Nityananda Prabhu is to be a madman and go and convert many people to devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one time Gadadhar Das, he was very, very ecstatic, and he was roaming about madly, making everyone chant Hare Krishna, converting everyone to devotees of Krishna. And he happened upon the house or the palace of a Qazi, the Nawab of Bengal. Now this person is dangerous, literally dangerous. Why? Because one of their things which they do for fun is they kill devotees and kill Brahmanas. There have been many demons who, one of the things they would do is, they would order their men that, there would be a tula. You know what a tula? Tula is a weighing scale, right? So they would say, okay, I'm the king, I'll sit on this one tula. And on the other hand, you need to balance my weight out with the weight of the Brahmin threads that you get after killing Brahmanas. So every day, this would be their activities. This is the great lineage, very, very phenomenal religion of ignorance. So that was his daily activity. One of these people. So this Nawab, he was also known for causing havoc amongst the devotional community and killing and destroying devotees and just hating devotees and all this. So then Gadadhar Das came up to his door basically and he started saying, chant Hare Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. And he was like, this guy must have some guts. Seriously, you're coming to my house in the middle of the night and you disturbing my peace and you want me to chant Hare Krishna? What is this? So he gets very angry and he's ready to just, commit violence against his devotee. But then he goes and he sees the beautiful form of Gadadhar Das and he's completely mesmerized, saying, wow, this person is so beautiful. And then Gadadhar Das sees him and then he goes and he embraces him. And he says, please chant Hari Hari. And then the Nawab is just like, I'll chant the name of Hari tomorrow. He said, you already chanted the name of Hari right now. You keep chanting the name of Hari. He says that, and this Nawab, who's a big demon, surrenders unto his lotus feet and becomes a great devotee. So such is the pastimes and the potencies of the great devotees of Lord Chaitanya. And that mercy is available. That mercy is available. We can pray to these great personalities to please empower us to at least get, okay, you know what? Maybe not all the Bloods and the Crips are going to become pure Vaishnavas, by just seeing us or something. But at least we can pray that, my dear Lord, please engage me into some, give me a small drop of that potency at least to distribute Prabhupada's books. That is reasonable. Right? If he can empower his devotees to go and convert, this great demons who literally kill devotees into pure Vaishnavas, then, at least we can pray. It'll be amazing if we could go and, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, just, convert everyone that we meet into pure devotees of Krishna. That would be amazing, right? But sometimes we can at least say, my dear, okay, at least if not that, at least I can distribute some Bhagavatam, some Chaitanya Charitamrita, something small at least I can do in the service of my Guru. At least you can help me establish this Varnashram for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. We can pray like this. We can make our, our prayers and our adhikar at least, we can pray. And we can pray that, my dear Lord, please increase my adhikar to receive this mercy and I can expand my service to my Guru. We can pray to them like this. So, these are the ecstatic pastimes of the devotees of the Supreme Lord. And now I'd really like to speak about Srinivasa Acharya. And there's a really a beautiful book written by Satyaraj Prabhu. This is a very small book. You can read the whole book probably in 3 hours. And I just completely brushed up about Srinivasa Acharya basically in an hour. It's just 66 pages. So Srinivasa Acharya, he is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And his pastimes start before. His appearance in this material world. There was a great Brahmana devotee known as Gangadhar Pandit, and he had a very chaste wife. They were both Brahmanas. And this Brahmana had always heard the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the beautiful golden avatar who had manifested in this world, the beautiful combination of Sri Radha and Krishna. He had heard about these pastimes, he had heard about them, and he would always go and preach to others about it. But they always had one big pain in their heart, which was they didn't have a son. So he he thought, okay, enough is enough. I want to go see the Lord of my heart, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So while he was on his way to go see Lord Chaitanya Nimai, then at that point of time, he got news that Lord Nimai is going to take sannyas in Katwa, which is only 7 miles away from where he is. So he was shocked. Everyone was shocked. How is Lord Nimai going to take sannyas? Sannyas is meant for people like us to renounce material attachments, but how is it that the Lord himself, the Lord of the three worlds, is meant to take sannyas? How is this possible? But he goes and he says, and there he says that Lord Chaitanya is there taking sannyas, and there's so many people, so many hosts of people, just crying and begging the Lord not to do so. And then the barber who is there, he is touching the head of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he is unable to shave his head because he himself has tears in his eyes. He cannot imagine, how is this, the beautiful Lord Chaitanya, the beautiful Nimai Pandit? How can he take sannyas? He will leave us. And he's feeling so much separation. And it says that after a day or two, then he finally shaved the head of Lord Chaitanya and he just fainted out of the pangs of imminent separation. And then before they knew it, Keshav Bharati gave Nimai Pandit the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And then everyone was completely shocked that now Nimai had become a sannyasi. And then this father, he just, when he saw that, he just became mad with ecstasy and he just started saying, Chaitanya, 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 Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And he just kept saying that. He was completely in shock and he couldn't handle himself. And eventually he just went back to his home. But the whole time he was chanting Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And then whoever he met in his village, they all became imbued with this contagious love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then they all gave him the name Chaitanya Das. They started calling him Chaitanya Das. So once Chaitanya Das and his wife decide, the Lord has taken up residence in Puri, let's go take his darshan. So they go. He gets the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is very pleased to see him. He says, I'm so pleased to see you. And please go take darshan of Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath will also be very pleased to see you. Then they all immediately go, along with Govinda, Lord Chaitanya's servant, and then they pray. And then when Govinda comes back to Lord Chaitanya tells him, my dear Govinda, although they have not given me this express desire, these two devotees want to have a son. And they prayed about this to Lord Jagannath. And because they prayed about this to Lord, I know this because I'm non-different from Lord Jagannath. So you please tell them to go back to their homes, and then very soon there'll be a boy born to them known as Srinivas. Srinivas. There's going to be a boy who's going to be born to them with the name of Srinivas, and he'll have all the beautiful and amazing qualities. And lo and behold, when they go back, and after some time they actually happen to have a son, and this son looks almost just like Lord Chaitanya. He looks so beautiful. His arms are long. He has beautiful, big golden eyes. We can see our eyes are like so small, right? They're so small. But the associates of Lord Chaitanya, they have big eyes. You've seen the eyes of Srila Prabhupada? They're so beautiful, so big, it's so amazing. So we see that they have beautiful eyes, and he had long arms. His arms would extend up to his knees. He had a beautiful golden complexion. His voice was so sweet. He was so well behaved. Anyone who saw the child was completely mesmerized by his beauty. And very soon, Srinivas became the most erudite scholar in his area, and he was a disciple of Dhananjaya Vachaspati. He was his disciple. And Dhananjaya Vachaspati is known to have said that I don't know, this boy knows more than what I can ever imagine to learn. He's such a beautiful boy, such an amazing boy. And Lord Chaitanya he wrote letters to Rupa and Sanatan saying, my dear Rupa and Sanatan, you should teach the Bhakti Shastras to Srinivas when he comes to Vrindavan. He went and he told Gadadhar Pandit that I want you to teach the Srimad Bhagavatam to Srinivas. I want you to teach the Srimad Bhagavatam to Srinivas. And Lord Chaitanya made so many plans for Srinivas Acharya. So who will teach him the Bhakti Shastras? Who will he be initiated by? Who, all these pastimes, who is he going to learn Bhagavatam from and all this. And as Srinivas Acharya started to grow a little, he started to become a young boy, he started to associate very closely with Narahari Chakravarti, Narahari Thakur. And Narahari Thakur is a very special associate of Lord Chaitanya because so many devotees wanted to come and sing the glories of Lord Chaitanya to Lord Chaitanya, but he always refused. No, you can't sing. But he always made an exception for Narahari Chakravarti, Narahari Thakur. You come, and then you can sing my glories. And Lord Chaitanya very much appreciated this. And Srinivas Acharya happened to get the association of Narahari Thakur, and the minute he got that association, he became completely absorbed in love for Krishna. He was so moved and so touched, and he became such an ardent devotee and follower of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And Narahari Thakur always urged him, I want you to go to Puri and meet Lord Chaitanya. I want you to go to Puri and meet Lord Chaitanya. So, Srinivas Acharya, he started to go towards Vrindavan. So he started to go towards Puri. And while he was going towards Puri, he would go to the different places that Lord Chaitanya visited. Lord Chaitanya's appearance place, the different associates of Lord Chaitanya. He would go and meet different devotees like this. And he would be very, very eager to go to get the association of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. But a few days before he arrived, Lord Chaitanya disappeared from this world. So he was completely heartbroken. He's saying, oh my God, I just missed the association of Lord Chaitanya. And then he also finds out that Lord Nityananda disappeared from this world. So he's even more heartbroken. He's wondering, Krishna, this is so sad. He decides, I'm just going to burn my body and die. He's going to burn my body to death. There's no point living. And then at that time, when he was in such a state of mind, then Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu appeared to him in a vision, and they told him, my dear Srinivas, you please don't do this. You go to Puri, you meet Gadadhar Pandit, and you learn the Srimad Bhagavatam from him. So Srinivas Acharya, he gets the courage and he starts going towards Puri, and there he sees Gadadhar Pandit in a very, very devastated state. The Lord of his life just left. How can he continue to live? So Gadadhar Pandit, he's completely devastated and he's completely crying. And Srinivas Acharya, he's also completely crying. And he offers his obeisances unto the lotus feet of Gadadhar Pandit. He offers obeisances. And Gadadhar Pandit, Gadadhara Pandit, he blesses him and tells him, oh, you're Srinivas Acharya, thank you. You're Srinivas, thank you for coming. Because I'm very overjoyed at the prospect of fulfilling the most ardent desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One of his last desires was for me to teach you Bhagavatam. So let's read the Srimad Bhagavatam. And they open the Srimad Bhagavatam, and what does Srinivas Acharya find? That the book is open, but there is no ink on the paper. There's no ink on the paper at all. And what is this? I want to. Sometimes we distribute books, and people because they're in a sapta, they want to see are there actually letters in this, or is it just blank books, right? So, what is this? This is a blank book. What happened here? How is it that there's no ink on this? So then, Gadadhar Pandit, then he understands that Gadadhar Pandit, while he's reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, Gadadhara Pandit, while he's reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, sheds tears of ecstasy so much that his tears of ecstasy wiped out the ink that was in his copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Another version says that Lord Chaitanya gave his personal copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam to Gadadhara Pandit. He gave it to him. And Lord Chaitanya would cry reading about the pastimes of Shri Radha and Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So either way, when they Srinivas Acharya kept the Bhagavatam to his head, and he asked Gadadhar Pandit, what do we do? What are we supposed to do now? Both of them were very determined to fulfill the purpose of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both of them were very determined to fulfill the purpose of Lord Chaitanya. So Gadadhara Pandit writes a letter to Narahari Thakur and says, we immediately need another copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Do you have it? So then with great difficulty, he actually gets a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he says, you immediately have to send a messenger to come get this Bhagavatam from me. So then Gadadhar Pandit thinks that who is more qualified to go and be a messenger than Srinivas Acharya himself. So Srinivas Acharya, he goes all the way to Bengal, and he gets a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can just imagine and understand how hard it was to have the books. How fortunate are we to have a warehouse full of books? We can literally have an unlimited supply of books. The only fault is we're not distributing enough books. Seriously. How fortunate we are. How much effort they had to go to just get a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And now we have these books and we don't read them even. How unfortunate are we actually? That we have the greatest fortune, but we don't take advantage, don't utilize this opportunity. So Srinivas Acharya goes and he meets Narahari Thakur, and he gets the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's coming back on his way to go study and learn Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhara Pandit. But he finds out that a few days before he arrives, guess what happens? Gadadhar Pandit also disappears from this world. And when that happens, he's completely devastated, and he's thinking, how will the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to pass? How will it come to pass? Lord Chaitanya wants me to learn Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit, but how will it come to pass? Now what will I do? And he starts to crying and weeping, and again he contemplates leaving his body. And then again, Gadadhar Pandit appears to him in a vision saying, don't worry, you can go and learn the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Bhakti scriptures from Rupa and Sanatan. Then he goes back to Bengal, and then while he's in Bengal, Janava Mata, the wife of Lord Nityananda, she visits Vrindavan, and there Rupa Goswami requests her to please send Srinivas Acharya immediately to Vrindavan. Please send him to Vrindavan, because we have to teach him the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're afraid we will just disappear from this world before he comes. That was their fear. So when he gets the news, Srinivas starts to go toward Vrindavan, but on his way, he always stops in the houses of the different associates of Lord Chaitanya. He goes here, he stops in one associate's house, goes somewhere else and stops in another associate's house. It's described that one of the associates of the Lord that he met was Abhiram Thakur. Abhiram Thakur has a famous whip known as Jai Mangal. It's a very amazing whip, actually. That anyone he whips with this whip, they immediately get love of Godhead. So Srinivas Acharya was whipped 3 times by Jai Mangal. And he spent some time with Abhiram Thakur. And like this, it was being delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And then, by the time he finally arrived in Vrindavan, it was said that 3 days before he arrived, Rupa and Sanatan disappeared from this world. So he was completely devastated. And you can imagine thinking, man, like, I could have just, gunned it from Atlanta to New York in one shot to go meet Prabhupada. But I decided to go stop at the houses of different Prabhupada disciples to just get their association, get their mercy. And just before I arrived, Prabhupada departed from this world. How would you feel? How would you feel? How much you've heard about Srila Prabhupada? How much you've heard? You can just imagine, oh my God, I could, and then you start to contemplate, I could have done this, I could have done that. And it just haunts you. And I don't think there's going to be questions in this, in regards to, the pastimes. I'm saying, is it okay if I go on till 9? Yeah? Okay. So he was devastated completely. Oh, and you can start to imagine all the things you start to think, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have done this, I could have done that. You start to think, you start to contemplate, and this and that. And you thought, what's the use of living? Let me just, again, commit suicide. So, again, when he thought of this, again, Rupa and Sanatan Goswami appeared to him in the dream, and they told him, my dear Srinivas, you don't worry, you go and you take shelter of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami will take care of you. Gopal Bhatta Goswami and Jiva Goswami. So both of them, so Srinivas Acharya is a little consoled, and then he goes and finds shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Govinda. And who established the deities of Radha Govinda? Radha Govinda in Vrindavan. That's right. Rupa Goswami. Right? Beautiful. Govinda Dev temple. So he finds himself great solace and pleasure and shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Govinda. Divyadvrindaranya, Kalpadrumada, Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto, Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo, Preshthalibi Sevyamanos Parami. So he's finding great shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Radha Govinda. And while he's doing so, he meets Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he meets Jiva Goswami. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami frankly expresses his disappointment that Rupa Goswami was so eager to meet you and you didn't come. And ouch, that's heavy, It's really heavy. But anyway, he initiates Srinivas Acharya, and he informs him that now, you see, you have to understand that in the spiritual world, I, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, I am Guna Manjari in the spiritual world. And you, my dear Srinivas, are Mani Manjari in the spiritual world. And Mani Manjari's eternal service is to serve Guna Manjari. So you are my eternal servant. So he initiates Srinivas Acharya, and then he sends him to Jiva Goswami, who is the greatest scholar that's ever known. There's never been, the only scholar that comes even close to, that can actually be compared to Srila Jiva Goswami is, that's right. What is that? Raghu-rūpa-sanātana-kirti-dharam dharani tala-kirtita-jiva-kavim. Dharani tala-kirtita-jiva-kavim. What's the other one? Ati-laukika gati-tolika rati-kautuka-vapusham ati-daivata-mati-vaishnava-yati vaibhava-purusham sasanatana raghu-rūpaka paramanugacharitam suvicharaka iti jivaka iti sadhu-viruditam. Only great scholars understand that his learning can be compared to that of Srila Jiva Goswami. So Srinivas Acharya, he goes to study under Jiva Goswami, and then who else are there to be with him is Narottam Das Thakur and Shyamananda Pandit. That's phenomenal combination. That's the A team. I mean, that's amazing. There cannot be a better combination than that. It's the best. Oh, that's ecstatic. So they were there, and Srinivasa Acharya was learning so much from Jiva Goswami. And three of them became the best of friends, and then they became the best students of Jiva Goswami. And they were living in Vrindavan, and they had this great devotee known as Raghava Pandit, who is Dhanishta, in Dhanishta Devi in Krishna's pastimes. And she is in charge of the whole forest. So she knows which forest, what happens, and all this. So in excruciating details, daily they go on Vrajamandala Parikrama. And Raghava Pandit is describing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord in Vrindavan to these great associates. It's very amazing, actually. It's ecstatic. I mean, they're living the life, right? You're with the Goswamis, you're with all the associates of Lord Chaitanya, you're getting like a private tour of the Vrindavan forest from a person who's an eternal associate of that Vrindavan forest. Everything is amazing. Kirtan is amazing. Everything is amazing. You're literally in the spiritual world. You're literally in the spiritual world. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed the Goswamis that I am going to compile the bhakti scriptures via Rupa and Sanatan. I'm going to distribute them with the help of Srinivas Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shyamananda Pandit. That was his order. So then, on a beautiful festival one day, Jiva Goswami, all the Vaishnavas and all that are there, and Srinivasa Acharya, Vishnu Prabhu, you like this. He was a very, very good organizer. He was very good at organizing festivals, organizing this, managing the temples, doing all this. So seeing his talent, Gopal Bhatta Goswami decided that he will make him the in charge of Radha Raman temple after he disappears. So Srinivasa Acharya, they're all there, and this amazing festival is happening. And then out of nowhere, a thunder strikes, where Jiva Goswami says that now we have decided that these bhakti scriptures written by Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, they all have to be, Janava Mata has requested them to be brought to Bengal and distributed amongst the devotees there. And for this great task, I'm selecting three people, Srinivasa Acharya, and then he's Srinivas, and from now on your name is going to be Srinivasa Acharya. Narottam Das, and from now on your name is going to be Narottam Das Thakur Mahashai. And Sukhi Krishna Das. From now on your name is going to be Shyamananda Pandit. And three of you are designated to leave Vrindavan and go on the first traveling Sankirtan book distribution party. Three of them. So they're completely heartbroken. They think, how can I do this? How can I leave Vrindavan? How can I leave all these devotees? And I'm supposed to go there by myself? And it's not even like three of them would be together. Three of them would go to three separate places. So this is heavy. It's a very, very heavy instruction. But he takes this instruction to heart, and they start to go on this. I'm cutting a lot of it short. Actually, there's an audio book also of someone reading this. I can post it on Ashram Comps. Please remind me in case I forget. But they all go on traveling Sankirtan, and like they get like the best TSKP vans for them. They get a big bullock cart which has a big payload, which can take all the books that they need. They get strong bulls, and they go into this, and they're going on their way. And while they're on their way, they come across a kingdom which was ruled by Maharaj Bhirambir. And Maharaj Bhirambir was a very strong ruler, and he employed all the dacoits and bandits and the robbers and the thieves in order to scare his enemies away. And one of the things he would do is he would also make sure that they would steal stuff. From any traveler who's coming, he would make sure that they kill them, and he would steal whatever they had. And that way, like the loot and the wealth of the entire kingdom was also increasing. And he also had astrologers with him who would tell him, look, under this star of the night, at this point of time, if you go and you do this particular activity, you'll get a lot of wealth. So once an astrologer told him, look, there's going to be like 15 men coming, and they have the most valuable treasure, more worthy than gold. So then he sends 200 men to go and find, and then they find the 10 guards who are guarding the bulls, and the cart, the 3 sadhus, and the 2 people who are in charge of the bulls. They find them. And they're waiting for their chance, and finally, when they get a chance, and all of them are sleeping, they come and they steal the trunk of books. And when they come and steal the trunk of books, the next morning, it's like their worst nightmare. Everyone is completely devastated. What's going on? How is this possible? So everyone is like, let's just kill ourselves. What? Literally, the what's going to save the whole world is lost. So then Srinivasa Acharya thinks, come on, this is Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya wants this to happen. He wants these bhakti scriptures to be spread all over the three worlds. How can this happen? He said, everyone, you go to the place that you have to go. I will personally deal with it. So he goes to the court of a king, of this king, and in the meantime, when the plunderers, they come and get this chest to the king, and he opens it, he's completely shocked. Like, there is no jewels in here. What is this? And then he opens and he sees the manuscript Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu he just reads Sri Rupa Goswami. He just reads this and he's immediately affected with love of God. And he puts it down thinking, oh my God, I committed such a grave sin by taking this. They must be great holy people. That night he was feeling tremendous anxiety in his heart, and then Srinivasa Acharya, he appears to him in a dream and says, don't worry, very soon I will come and meet you and I will deliver you. Don't worry. So he has that dream, and the next day Srinivasa Acharya comes into the court of the king, and there's a bogus Bhagavatam speaker known as Vyasa Acharya, and he's just speaking all kinds of bogus nonsense on the Vyasa-san. So Srinivasa Acharya tolerates it for a few days, and then he couldn't have it. He just raises his hand and said, what are you speaking? You're not speaking anything according to the previous acharyas. You're just speaking your bogus concoctions. Come on, he said, oh, if you're such a great scholar, then why don't you speak? And then Srinivasa Acharya rose up to the challenge, destroyed him completely, blew everyone's mind, and then the great king, he realizes, oh my God, this is the person I saw in my dream. And he comes and he surrenders under the lotus feet of Srinivasa Acharya. And then he starts to, he gives him accommodation, and he starts to hear, he started to hear him chant the holy name, and thinks, oh, what a great saintly person I've come across. And then he begs for him to accept him as a disciple. And then he accepts him as a disciple, and then he retrieves, of course, all the lost books, and he writes an ecstatic letter to Jiva Goswami, and all the residents of Vrindavan are ecstatic upon hearing this news. And then this king is initiated by Srinivasa Acharya, and his entire kingdom is known as Vishnupur. And then everyone in his kingdom were converted into Vaishnavas. Everyone in his kingdom were converted to Vaishnavas. And he had established the highest, most pristine culture of Gaudiya Vaishnavism that was present to be found anywhere. Srinivasa Acharya did this. And then, of course, along with his other exploits, he converted so many people to the lotus, and to bring them to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one of his, and this is the last point, I'll end in just 2 minutes, please. One of the other things that Srinivasa Acharya is known for is very esoteric manjari sadhana, which he had received from the Goswamis. And in the spiritual world, it's known as Mani Manjari. And then, one pastime was there where he was chanting, and he went into samadhi, and he went into ecstasy. And in that, he went into the spiritual world in his transcendental form as a manjari. And there, all the manjaris and the gopis, they're witnessing Krishna's ecstatic pastime, ecstatic water sports with Srimati Radharani. And in the middle of the water sport, Radharani's nose ring falls off, and it goes into the dark blue waters of the Yamuna. And then Rupa Goswami sees this, or Rupa Manjari sees this, and looks at Guna Manjari, who's Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and he understands the indication. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami, or Guna Manjari, dives into the dark blue waters of the Yamuna, trying to find this nose ring, but cannot find it. Then she asks Mani Manjari, who's Srinivasa Acharya, to help her find it. And he's looking and looking and looking and looking, and 3 days and nights go by in this world over here. Everyone is completely shocked. What are we supposed to do? This, is Prabhu leaving this world? What's happening? Then they call his dear disciple Ramachandra Kaviraj. They call him, and he goes in the spiritual world. His disciple goes in the spiritual world and helps him find this nose ring. And then finally they keep this beautiful nose ring. He gets the nose ring, gives it to Srinivasa Acharya. Srinivasa Acharya gives it to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Gopal Bhatta Goswami gives it to Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami gives it to Lalita Manjari, right on time to dress Radharani back when they're done, and she's wearing her deep dark blue sari. So there is a very exalted person, And then, sometimes also he would go into his ecstasy, and he'd be in the spiritual world where he's worshipping Lord Chaitanya very nicely and decorating Lord Chaitanya. And he gives Lord Chaitanya a beautiful garland, and Lord Chaitanya is so pleased with him. The Lord Chaitanya himself takes off his garland and keeps it upon Srinivasa Acharya. And he breaks from his meditation, but he comes back with that garland that Lord Chaitanya personally wore from the spiritual world. And then another time, he's associating Radha and Krishna in their pastimes of throwing colors at each other. And the pastime is described as very ecstatic. And then, the pastime is going on. All of a sudden, he breaks from that pastime. And then he comes back into this world and he sees his entire body is dubbed with all these colors that Radha and Krishna were throwing upon him. So this is a very exalted personality. And his life and soul was to distribute these books. That was his life and soul. He's the first traveling Sankirtan leader. He's the first traveling Sankirtan party leader. So this was his life and soul. So on this day, we can earnestly and fervently pray to the lotus feet of Sri Srinivasa Acharya to please bless us, to empower us, to distribute these books of Srila Prabhupada, because nothing will please him more. They won't. This is his life and soul. So we should make this our life and soul, and we should fervently pray. Please excuse me, I've gone a few minutes over time. I'll end the class here. I don't know if this, okay. So Jai, Shri Gopashtami Mahamahotsaha ki Jai, Shri Dhananjay Pandit ki Jai, Shri Gadadhara Das ki Jai, Shri Srinivasa Acharya ki Jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay. I mean, I asked him and he said no. So, okay, anyway, so are there any questions at all? We could take them now.
The stream's still on, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything from anyone? Hare Krishna.
So this dressing of Radharani as Gopa, it's I'm confused about the deity worship standard at least. And is it done in Gaudiya Math? Is it done in some other locations?
I remember vaguely listening to a lecture of Guru Maharaj, and he speaks about how it's coming from some other temples in Vrindavan.
Oh, Vrindavan.
Vrindavan, that's where it comes from. And Vrindavan has a whole lot of bona fide stuff and a whole lot of unbona fide stuff. So
yeah, and even if it's bona fide, if it's not part of our sampradaya, then we don't do it.
Yeah. That's as far as I've.
Because some devotees argue that the challenge is Prabhupada has instructed us to worship Radha Krishna like Lakshmi Narayan. And so some devotees say that we shouldn't even decorate like, I don't know, they say even like
Krishna with flowers?
No, flowers is of course okay. That Prabhupada wanted that. But like decorating the altar in sort of like a Vrindavan mood is not supposed to be done. We're supposed to have it more just opulent. And that's the kind of worship that Srila Prabhupada showed at Rukmini Dwarakadish. Do you know in Rukmini Dwarakadish, do they do the Gopashtami?
They do.
They do?
I mean, it's just like another.
No, they don't dress Radharani as Gopa.
No, I don't think so.
I was curious to know because
I can
a
ask
lot of the
Bhagavati
things
Prabhu.
Rukmini Dwarakadish becomes the standard.
Yeah.
At least for now, it's said that they still maintain that standard.
Yeah.
deity worship.
Seems like that.
And do you know if they do any other things about deity worship in Vrindavan mood?
I mean, on Radhashtami, I was there, and they did like the whole Radha Julan, the swing festival.
Swing festival's okay.
And
Did they reveal Radharani's feet?
I didn't see that.
Okay. Sometimes they do that on Radhashtami. Sometimes they do that on Gopashtami today.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. Prabhupada didn't do.
Well,
I mean,
that's the thing. I
to
was
show
just curious
Radharani's
to know.
feet, this is like crazy. It's I don't know. I mean, did Prabhupada ever do it? What I've seen when you and I, Vishnuchitra Prabhu, we were in a temple 4 years ago, the devotee said, "Oh, today the pujari was feeling very, very merciful, so she has decided to show everyone the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani." I think, dude, are you crazy? This is nuts. What is this? The qualification to see the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, give me a break, This is not a joke. It's not a joke. Only the pujaris who are very fortunate, they get to see that. It's not meant for public display. Radharani is the chastest of all women, come on. So, anyway, I haven't seen. I didn't see that. I didn't see
I'm
them.
just curious to see.
They
how
never,
do.
from what I've seen in Rukmini Dwarkadhish, they never do any funny stuff. It's just straightforward.
And I assume that I also wanted to know what they're doing in Bhopal.
That's
on
a good.
Gopashtami.
Hey, you probably know who to call up
No, I
better than
don't
me.
know.
It seems like it's just like a normal day. Maybe they keep some extra cows on the altar, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, I have more questions on deity worship. But that's
Yeah, I mean, I'm like zero on that. Yeah, I'm sorry. So that's an aspect of devotional service that I'd like to learn at some point, along with cooking. Yes, Prabhu. Abhimanyu Sutta Prabhu. I think he has the. You can please use the mic if you want. Yeah.
This pastime with, what did you say, with Dhananjaya or Gadadhara Das? Gadadhara Das who made that Kazi
Uh-huh.
chant the holy names.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there's like different versions because, in what I read like originally in Adi Leela, chapter 10, verse 23, it says when Srila Gadadhara Das Prabhu was preaching the cult of Hari Kirtan, there was a magistrate who was very much against his Sankirtana movement. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Gadadhara Das one night went to the house of the Qazi and requested him to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Qazi replied, "All right, I shall chant Hare Krishna tomorrow." On hearing this, Srila Gadadhara Das Prabhu began to dance, and he said, "Why tomorrow? You have already chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, so simply continue." So you were saying about like he embraced him.
Yeah, this is there. Yeah. This is written in this. No, not Satyaraj Prabhu's book. That's a different book. It's in one of this. What's this book, Prabhu? The Principal Associates of Lord Chaitanya. This book that we have here. Yeah, that one. Yeah. If it's in that, then it's going to. Yeah, that I read it. I mean, I read it on the Gaudiya history thing, and they're quoting from this book. This book that we have. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. And another question I have is regarding all the different associates of Lord Chaitanya that were leaving their bodies right before Srinivasa Acharya was meeting them. Was it that? Were they just? Was it the pastime of them manifesting, the pastime of having old age? Was it simply because it's like separation that they all left their bodies?
I mean, it's because of separation from Lord Chaitanya. Old age, sure, you could say that. Old age, when the associates of Lord, it's not gonna. I mean, the fire of separation is that's what it is. Like what happens is that in meditation upon those pastimes, and at a certain point of time, they never just come back. They just. So that's what they were fearing actually. With Srinivasa Acharya.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Giri, you have your hand up? No, okay.
I don't get one thing. If they, so that Srimad Bhagavatam, all ink from Srimad Bhagavatam was disappeared, and they went to get a copy. I don't get if they get another copy.
I mean, the copy that he had, that Gadadhar Pandit had, it was wiped out. The ink was wiped out by the tears of Lord Chaitanya and Gadadhar Pandit, right? But there was another, just like this, there may be two copies of the same book. right?
Yeah.
So this book, the ink was missing. But the other book, the ink was not missing. So he went to get the other book.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry.
All right. Shri Gadadhar Pandit ki jai, Shri Gadadhar Das ki jai, Srinivas Acharya ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya.